Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together, talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Shane.
And this is episode 287, Best of, Volume 6, 1997.
Short list.
Yep.
That's right, we're going to bring you our top matches that we covered this year. We have a short list of 13. Well, that's 13 shows. We had a couple shows that had like 3 matches each.
Yeah.
So it's like, was it like 17 matches that we put on our short list for this year. I think we're going to cover about 6 here, but we'll talk. We might throw the rest of them out at the very end.
The honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions and stuff. But this show, if you're not paying attention, we like to do stuff in chronological order.
Absolutely. That's kind of the whole thing here.
Damn right.
So let's just start with our first match that we decided to be on our best of. And that's Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hitman Hart in a submission match with Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee at WrestleMania 13, episode 247.
I mean, what can you say? Austin bleeding from the head in the figure 4.
Words.
It's just, everyone's seen it. Everybody remembers it. The thing that surprises me the most when I see this match is that it's the way that it ends. I see the camera just right in Austin's face, just like dripping blood. But that's not quite how it looks. And a match that prints on your brain and changes what you saw.
Not only changes what you saw, but changes how you feel.
Absolutely. Is kind of it's the whole idea.
The double turn. Like, this was the match that made that thing famous. The double turn.
Yeah.
Yep. It was our introduction in the wrestling ring to Ken Shamrock as well.
Yeah, it was his first time.
Who we recently saw have a wonderful performance versus Shawn Michaels. I'm pro Shamrock, but
Hey, there's no shame.
Yeah, this is a good way to get him involved, get him a little comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hear what we had to say back then.
Take it away, us.
So we're headed to our 5th match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart in a submission match with Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. And on the Go Home Raw to WrestleMania, Bret had received a rematch for the WWF Championship versus Sid in a cage.
Oh.
Stone Cold would keep interfering, helping the Hitman, while the Undertaker would also come down to help Sid so they could either help or preserve their opponent's title.
Yeah.
Chances, basically. In the end, Taker would cost Hart the match by slamming the cage door into his head, allowing Psycho Sid to escape over the wall.
Damn.
And after the match, Bret snapped, throwing Vince down to the mat, going on a profanity-laced tirade.
This is bullshit!
Which actually led to the 7-second delay on USA.
Oh, wow.
That was an incredible moment on Raw that I remember watching growing up, because Bret was always Bret. And then all of a sudden one day he just wasn't Bret anymore. That's all he could stand, and he can't stand no more.
Yeah, I mean, it's also funny because, we did something very similar to this for, what was it, the last In Your House? Like, on the previous Raw, or maybe it was a Raw after the San Antonio show. And it's like, oh, okay. But, yeah, if it's working, it's working. This here, the actual glass break, come on, guys.
Yep.
Come on.
I got some more of the story.
Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
We ain't done.
Sid would come running back down to the ring, attacking the Hitman, with officials attempting to break it up, which Hart would end up nailing Pat Patterson at one point, leading to McMahon yelling, "He just hit Hall of Famer Pat Patterson, that no good son of a bitch."
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Austin and the Dead Man would follow to join in on the brawl, and as the show was going off the air, Shawn Michaels would walk out with a chair in hand. But then Stone Cold Stone entering the arena, walking through that glass partition that says Austin 316 on it.
The fucking pop and the break, and it's like, you normally don't get the glass actually breaking, at least in the future, but it's such a good visual.
Those shows where it does is great.
Oh my god, yes.
And when he gets in the ring, he gets right in Shamrock's face, letting him know he means business.
Absolutely.
And as Bret enters the ring, Stone Cold just straight up tackles him, and the two start brawling out of the ring, where the Hitman runs Austin into a ring post. Only for Stone Cold to come right back to crotch Hart on a guardrail.
It's hot!
Followed by a clothesline. They head out into the crowd to continue to brawl, with Austin throwing a drink at Bret and trying to pile drive him, only for the Hitman to reverse into a back body drop on the concrete steps. They brawl their way back to ringside, where Stone Cold reverses a whip to send Hart into the steel steps, followed by a clothesline from the apron.
And it's crazy, like, this is a huge pop as they go into the brawl into the crowd, but this isn't ECW or WCW. This is like a palpable feud at WrestleMania. So they don't even do much in the crowd, but it feels like a lot just because they earned it.
Austin picks up the steps to use as a weapon when Bret would kick the knee of Stone Cold to evade the attack. And they return to the ring where Austin telegraphs a back body drop, allowing the Hitman to hit a swinging neckbreaker and a second rope elbow drop before working the leg, until Stone Cold is able to deliver a stunner to slow the momentum. Hart just goes back to the knee, locking on a figure four around the ring post, followed by grabbing a chair and the ring bell. Bret then wraps the chair around Austin's leg and heads up top. But Stone Cold makes it to his feet, smashing the steel over the head and back of the Hitman several times.
I mean, come on, guys.
Beautiful swing, beautiful impact, beautiful sound.
Austin with body slams, hard whips into corners, vertical suplex, and a second rope elbow drop, which is causing Hart's daughter to cry in the crowd. Stone Cold hits a side Russian leg sweep before starting to work various submissions, including a Boston Crab, which Bret makes the ropes to break.
And I mean, these guys are doing incredible jobs of selling. Like, Stone Cold's selling his leg in this match is top tier.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Austin then tries to apply a sharpshooter, but the Hitman blocks, and the two begin to trade strikes until Stone Cold tosses Hart to the floor. Austin follows out only for his whip to be reversed, sending Stone Cold into the timekeeper's table and the guardrail, busting him open.
I know, I was trying to figure out where he cut himself, but he cut himself before the whip.
The hard way.
No, it wasn't the hard way. It was before the whip into the steel. He just got it in there quick, didn't start pumping till he came back around.
Bret continues the punishment, ramming Austin into the ring post and steps, punching the cut, continues with a backbreaker, second rope elbow drop, and using the chair across the leg. The Hitman then goes for the sharpshooter, only for Stone Cold to escape by raking the eyes. But Hart stays on the attack until Austin checks on Saskatoon's population of 2.
Took me a second there.
Stone Cold sends Bret's sternum first into the corner, stomping a mud hole before delivering a superplex. Austin grabs an electrical cord, wrapping it around the throat of the Hitman, choking him. But Hart is able to grab the ring bell and smash it over the head of Stone Cold to break the hold.
I mean, so intelligent. This guy is bleeding his ass off and he's getting choked. And the ring bell. They already set it up a little bit. They touched it earlier.
Bret then locks on the sharpshooter in the middle of the ring, with the blood pouring down the face of Austin, dripping into his mouth as he cries out in pain. He tries to power out, only for the Hitman to sit back down, with Austin going unconscious. So Shamrock calls for the bell, making Hart the winner.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, it's via knockout, right?
Yep.
Technically, I mean, he passed out. He may not have been punched, but he passed out as a knockout, right?
I mean, it's a knockout, but it's not a.
Yeah.
It's not a submission.
No, exactly.
Wait.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is the star-making performance.
Post-match, Bret celebrates, but then attacks Stone Cold once again, with Ken telling him to stop, to no avail. Shamrock then waist-locks the Hitman down to the mat, daring him to fight. But Hart thinks better of it and leaves to the back, flipping off a few fans on his way out.
Ooh.
The officials come out to help Austin, only for Stone Cold to stunner on one of them, before refusing any aid, limping his way to the back on his own, as the fans applaud him.
And that's what you call a
Double turn.
And what's great about it is, like, Austin comes out to cheers. Bret comes out to what I've interpreted as a bigger pop throughout the match. Austin does get some boos in moments where he's on top and Bret is down. You don't hear as many boos for Bret. Austin loses in the classiest and most badass way possible. Bret throws a fit, which he's been doing for quite a while, and is a sore loser here. Or a sore winner, which is
that's what makes it worse.
And then Austin, not only does he get up and hit a stunner, he walks out a bloody mess, selling his leg incredibly by himself. It's just, I mean, what is there to change here?
The order of the matches. How do you top that?
Yeah, I mean, you could have other great matches on this show, and they wouldn't be, like, remembered in any, I mean, potentially in a meaningful way, but probably not in any real meaningful way. So, can keep that in our mind as we talk about our feelings afterwards.
I feel for the sons of bitches that are coming up next.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it now because we're all thinking it.
Yeah.
But we all know it's just a shortlist match.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, psychology, selling, like,
everything.
storytelling. Like, everything here is earned and performed to a T.
Almost 30 years later, and it's still one of the best ever matches.
Yeah.
Not just at Mania, but just ever.
We've seen the finish a million times in, like, packages and stuff, and it's still maybe not just as impactful, because how can it be? But it is still, like, means something today.
What makes it more impactful watching it back is that you get to see it in color. Because on the bulk of the replays, anytime they show blood, it's black and white because. So, yeah, that just adds all those extra little bits. Perfection. There's blood. There was blood.
If you want blood,
There was blood.
you've got it.
That's right.
Some AC/DC.
Lots of it.
You know Stone Cold Steve Austin loves AC/DC.
I wonder if they cut the blood-soaked section of the ring and just have it framed somewhere on a wall somewhere, or in a scientific lab where they can create future Stone Colds for the next generations.
Yeah, with better knees.
Stone Cold on Ice.
So next up, this is a little bit of a crazy one, guys. We picked a 6-man match.
So rare for us.
BWO Japan, Taka Michinoku, Min's Teao, and Dick Togo versus Masata Yakushi, Great Shizaki, and Gran Hamada from Barely Legal 1997, episode 250.
And the thing here is, we don't know. We know who a couple of these guys are. We know Michinoku. We know Sasuke. We're aware of Togo. We're aware of Hamada. But this is on an ECW show. And we see a 6-man match on an ECW show. We think, okay, well, they're just going to hit each other with fucking Nintendos and VCRs and trash cans and guitars and what have you. But these guys showed up, worked for $50, and really left it all on the goddamn mat. I can't think of a more engaging, surprising, or entertaining 6-man match that I've ever seen. And this one was on ECW's Barely Legal, the first ECW pay-per-view, which was a good pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was.
But this match really just kind of left me with my jaw dropped, where I'm like, well, I'm sure this will be fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, eyes wide. What the fuck are they doing? Why are they working this hard? They don't have to do this. Like, they're not making enough money to do this good of a job.
Yeah, I remember seeing it's a 6-man Japanese tag team match in ECW, and my thought was, this crowd is going to rip them apart. But nope. They ate it all up.
These guys were flying all over the place.
And it's the thing we've talked about with ECW. We're like, oh, they just want trash. They just want tables and chairs and blood. It's not true. When there is a good wrestling match, the people are into it.
It's how it used to be with them.
It has to be compelling.
They've learned since the beginning because it used to be they'd say boring when you'd have people in there actually putting on a good match, and the wrestling is finally winning over.
Yeah, they brought in the juniors, and it made a big difference. But most of those ECW guys are just like old smarks, old like newsletter guys that are just ready for something different. They want a third party, and ECW was that party.
Well, we might as well hear what we had to say about it.
Listen to us gush.
We then go to our third match. BWO Japan.
Gone international, folks.
Oh my god.
Taka Michinoku, Men's Trioh, and Dick Togo.
Yeah.
Versus Masato, Yakushiji, Great Sasuke, and Gran Hamada.
Best name ever.
Which one?
Dick Togo.
Oh yeah. Dick Togo. Yeah, I mean he's been around forever. He's much larger now.
So we haven't seen Michinoku since Best of Super Juniors '94, episode 119. Hamada and Sasaki at the J Crown tournament, episode 213. And the English translation of Teao is Terry Boy.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And is an homage actually to Terry Funk.
Yep.
Yep. He's got the little like 70s Terry Funk like frill shorts on.
I was kind of hoping he'd get on the microphone.
Yeah. To hear that in broken English would be incredible.
While you might recognize Togo from his days in Kaientai in WWF, or maybe even from his current run in New Japan as the Worst.
I mean, yeah. He is.
Is that his actual name is the Worst?
No. He's just the worst.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, he is the shit stirrer for the faction that does nothing but stir shit and like cheat. And New Japan always has one faction that cheats, but this one cheats so much that it's not even fun.
He literally, I think, is one least favorite wrestler on the Super J cast, like 3 years running.
Yeah.
Which is the one that looked like the Green Ranger?
That's Masato
okay.
Yakushiji.
Yeah, he's subbing in for Gran Naniwa.
Yeah,
Which,
that's
do
all
you
I
guys
could
remember
think.
Gran Naniwa?
Yeah.
He was the crab guy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He was the comedy crab guy.
Yeah.
Who was obviously talented, but this guy in his Green Ranger thing.
Yeah, that's all I could think was I was watching it is he looks like the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
He looks like the Green Ranger.
I mean, fans even chanted.
Now, all 6 of these men are from Michinoku Pro, and because it's Japanese tradition, our fans throw streamers into the ring.
So many streamers, it's so fun to see.
But as the action gets going, Hamada with a quick arm drag as Taka starts it off, then goes on an onslaught before holding Taka up as Yakusugi comes off the top with a double foot stomp, continuing with the slam and a leg drop for a 2 count before bringing in Sasaki, who pelts Taka with a bunch of kicks. Taka fights off a suplex and pummels Sasaki before tagging in Terry Boy, who delivers a snapmare, setting up an elbow drop by Taka, a somersault senton by Togo, and another elbow drop by Terry Boy. Taka hits Sasaki with a sidewalk slam, turning him over into a Boston Crab, before Terry Boy grabs a camel clutch and Togo delivers a low dropkick to the face.
The timing of these guys is so fucking on point.
Yeah.
They're just, everybody's exactly where they need to be at every fucking moment, and so much shit's happening, but it all makes sense. It's like, oh, everything that happens is logical, surprising, and well-timed. My God.
BWO followed that up by nailing a senton splash with Yakushiji running in to break up the cover. Taka tags in and attacks the throat of Yakushiji, slamming him and tagging in Terry Boy, who scores some knee lifts and a stalling corkscrew suplex for a near fall. Togo tags in and launches Yakushiji off a whip, but Yakushiji retaliates with a Hurricanrana before delivering a float over lucha arm drag to send Togo to the floor.
See, I noticed during this match the way that they say Hurricanrana in ECW, because he said it like Hurakarana or something like that.
A Hurricanrana. Yeah, it's like just the Joey Styles, you know, the New Jersey coming out.
His New Jersey, New Japan. Huracanrana.
Yakushiji backflips off the second rope to show off, so Taka rushes in after him and shoots him to the ropes, only to get sent to the floor with a tilt-a-whirl arm drag as well.
Yeah.
Now it's Hamada and Terry Boy in the ring where they exchange overhand chops until Hamada hits a big headbutt.
Ooh.
Backflips away from a corner whip and catches Terry Boy with an armbar takedown. But Taka breaks it up and goes for a back body drop, with Hamada landing on his feet, only for Terry Boy to grab hold of him from behind, with Taka charging in, but Hamada ducks, causing Terry Boy to be knocked out to the floor.
And I know we've seen Hamada before, but my God, was I impressed with him in this match. Like, everybody here is doing an incredible job, but Hamada has an immediacy and, like, fervor, where it's like his moves are, like, he moves quickly at the right time, and it always looks pretty fierce.
Hamada takes Taka down with another armbar takedown, followed by giving him a back suplex, tagging in Sasaki for some double team chops. And Sasaki then applies a body scissors chin lock, but Terry Boy breaks it up, followed by them having a cool rope running sequence that ends with Sasaki cartwheeling into a crossbody for a 2 count.
Love to see it.
Yakushiji and Taka tag in, with Yakushiji hitting a quick dropkick, but Taka brings him to his team's corner for some punishment.
And have you guys noticed that this whole match has taken place inside of the ring?
No schmas.
This is the third match. First match, second, third match. All taking place inside the ring. Somebody might get tossed to the floor for a second. Van Dam did his moonsault off of the steel, but for the most part, it's taking place in the ring. And this is 6 men all staying inside of the ring for the most part.
Terry Boy tags in, and he continually tosses Yakushiji out to the floor and follows out, only for Yakushiji to keep coming back in until he can finally out-quick him, drop-kicking Terry Boy off the apron to the floor and setting up a baseball slide into a head scissors takedown. Now Hamada and Togo run the ropes.
You just put my foot in my mouth.
Until Togo nails a low drop kick. But Hamada comes back with a Hurricanrana for a near fall, as Taka breaks it up. Hamada then counters a vertical suplex into a small package for a 2 count, before Taka gets triple teamed with chops to the back.
It reminds me of my wonderful current-ish 6-man tag team of Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto with the hammers to the back.
Sasaki puts Taka into a half crab, but he squirms to his feet and hits an enziguri, allowing Taka to whip Sasaki to a corner for a running forearm and a roundhouse kick. Togo and Terry Boy attack Sasaki's midsection and hit a double facebuster, before holding Sasaki up by his ankles with his head resting on the mat, with Taka hitting a running front dropkick to the gut. And they continue by putting Sasaki on the bottom of a cheerleading type pyramid to gloat.
It's really fun. PWO.
Followed by Taka and Terry Boy, each putting a boot behind his head as Togo drills him with a stiff running front dropkick.
I mean, this is an incredible spot. Like, two men on either side of a guy on his knees, and they each are holding one of his arms with their boot sandwiching his head like it's in a vice grip. And then the other guy comes out, hits the rope, comes off with a fucking drop kick directly into his face.
Basically, he gets a boot in every side of his head.
It's great. It looks so fucking good. And so dangerous.
A stalling vertical suplex gets a near fall for Togo before Terry Boy tags in and goes for the spinning toe hold. But Sasuke kicks him off and whips Terry Boy, only to telegraph the back body drop, allowing Terry Boy to hit a swinging DDT.
I love that as soon as he picks the legs, everybody starts doing the woo. Like he's going to put him in a figure four, but then he starts just cranking on the toe hold.
Taka and Yakushiji match up, with Taka delivering a brainbuster for a 2 count.
Perfect brainbuster, by the way. They're not always perfect. This one's fucking perfect.
Followed by Terry Boy tagging in to give Yakushiji a Hogan boot to set up a triple team maneuver where Terry Boy begins to slingshot Yakushiji, while Togo bounces off the ropes and drops him back with a clothesline. And as his whole torso is exposed, Terry Boy keeps a hold of his feet so that Taka can leap off the top rope with a flying knee drop.
My God.
Togo takes his time making the cover, so it's only a near fall. But he follows it up with a body slam and a second rope somersault senton before bringing Terry Boy in for a back suplex for a 2 count. Taka goes after Hamada, giving him a back body drop and taking him into the BWO corner, where Taka and Togo team up for a spike piledriver.
Yeah.
Now Hamada rolls to the floor, so Yakushiji becomes the legal man, with the BWO team delivering a triple team powerbomb for a near fall, with Sasuke making the save. So they try the same powerbomb on him, but they drop him momentarily, only to try for it anyways, allowing Sasuke to counter into a Hurricanrana for a 2 count. Now Sasuke sent to the ropes, ducking a double clothesline and springboard moonsaults onto Taka and Terry Boy for a near fall, followed by nailing a cartwheel back elbow to send Togo to the floor. Sasuke then hits an Asai moonsault that lands himself in the first row. While inside the ring, Hamada nails Terry Boy with a clothesline and setting him on a turnbuckle for a super Rana, only to be reversed into a super inverted atomic drop, sending Hamada rolling to the floor, where Taka springboard planches atop him.
Everybody is just so goddamn present.
Takasuji hits Terry Boy with a missile dropkick back in the ring for a 2 count, followed by a snap suplex and a second rope moonsault for a near fall. Terry Boy reverses a whip, allowing him to hit a swinging DDT and a choke slam powerbomb for a 2 count.
Chokeslam powerbomb. What the fuck? Shit's wild.
Togo hops in the ring to nail Hamada with a power slam for a near fall, before whipping him to a corner, only to get his boots up on a charging Togo, allowing him to leap off the second rope with a swinging DDT for a 2 count. And Togo reverses a whip and catches Hamada going for a Rana, dropping him with a powerbomb for a near fall. He then heads up top, only for Sasuke to stop him, allowing Hamada to climb up for another Super Rana. Now Sasuke and Hamada decide to focus on Terry Boy outside, leaving Togo alone to receive a missile dropkick from Yakushiji that sends Togo outside, with Yakushiji following out with a tope suicida. Now back in the ring, Taka and Sasuke trade waistlocks until Sasuke nails some kicks, allowing him to run the ropes, but he's caught with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex by Taka, followed by a top rope missile dropkick to the back of the head, and the Michinoku driver for a near fall, as Yakushiji makes the save.
Incredible stuff.
Taka then dumps Yakushiji out to the floor and heads up top, coming off with a crossbody, only for Sasuke to meet him in mid-air with a dropkick, followed by a springboard moonsault for a 2 count.
Jesus.
Sasuke then nails a powerbomb and a dragon suplex for the pin and the win.
My God, fucking. Woo. There's a standing ovation. It's extremely well deserved. I'm gonna say it. This is a fucking short list, brother.
Yes.
I mean, this is everybody. Like, this is so similar to modern matches, but done so much more intelligently.
Yeah.
And everything seems like it means more. I don't know.
Yeah, they all just flowed seamlessly, all 6 of them.
Yeah, it was so great. Ah, my God. And the match was long as hell, and not boring for a second.
Mm-mm. I know when I opened up the notes and saw how detailed Matt was on it, I was thankful because you covered a whole lot of shit on it.
Yeah, I was basically right there with him.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was kind of right there with him. I was like, damn, my notes are pretty close to his.
Yeah, I couldn't leave anything out.
I think that...
like, every time I wanted to leave something, I was like, this move's fucking cool. This move's fucking... I was like...
I mean, best 6-man match I think I've ever seen at this point in my life.
I'll give it that.
I mean, come on, guys. 6 men flipping around like that. We've seen Lucha, but this looks meaner.
Oh, yeah.
Feels better.
And I mean, just still, I can't get over the names. You got one team that's take a men's dick to go. I mean, that's every gay man's dream right there.
I can just take it with me. Put it in my pouch.
Well, moving forward, we got Akira Hokuta with Sonny Onoo versus Madusa for the WCW Women's World Championship in a title versus career match at Great American Bash 1997, episode 259.
And one of them went on to drive monster trucks.
Yes, she did.
And she was so disrespected. But I mean, what a way to go out. She worked from underneath in great fashion. And it's kind of a shame that they're like, oh, Madusa, come over here. Drop the WWF title in a trash can. We'll give you a couple matches over a couple years.
Yeah.
and then have me and Gene ask you.
Literally the surprise of the night every time a women's match showed up was like, oh, yeah, they still have women in this company.
Yeah. Oh, wait, it's Akira Hokuta and Madusa, or is it Madusa and Bull Nakano, or is it
Alundra Blaze and Bertha Faye?
Yeah, exactly. It's always Hokuta was the woman of 97, whereas 95, 96 it was Bull Nakano. But I think that with Hokuta being more mobile than I keep wanting to say Aja Kong, being more mobile than Bull Nakano. We get a more interesting match, and Madusa does such a great job of just trying to fight through what feels like a real injury. And we're all about feeling here.
Well, enough from us.
Yes.
Let's listen to us. So we go to our 5th match. Akira Hokuta with Sonny Onoo versus Madusa for the WCW Women's World Championship in a title versus career match.
Oh my God. And for some reason, Lee Marshall joins commentary.
What do you mean, some reason?
He's our ladies expert.
Is he?
You bring in Mike Tenay for the Japanese matches. You bring in old Lee Marshall for the ladies.
Oh, yeah, he's the ladies
for
expert.
the ladies.
But the champion came out first.
Foreshadowing.
And Akira spits on and slaps Madusa to start, using hair-based offense and chokes to gain control before stretching her on the ropes and nailing a piledriver. Madusa rallies after being tossed to the ropes, coming back with a sling blade and a pair of missile drop kicks for a 2 count. And Madusa's working over Hokuta with jabs in a corner, pouncing on the neck, only for Akira to slow the momentum by grabbing Madusa by the throat, allowing her to deliver more chokes and several suplexes for a near fall.
And the crowd is into this. So, sorry about you, Conan and Morris and Mortis.
Wrath.
and Wrath and Glacier.
Hokuto then goes for a spinning toe hold, biting at the boot, when Madusa fires up with multiple kicks and a snapmare, only for Akira to counter with an inside cradle for a 2 count. Madusa is sent to a corner, only to flip over to the apron, where she delivers a boot to the face of Hokuto, following up with a top rope double axe handle, but she hurts her knee in the process. So Akira goes right after the hurt limb with a shin breaker, a surfboard, and a Northern Lights suplex, before heading up top, where Madusa hobbles her way over for a headstand head scissors and a powerbomb for the pin. And no, Hokuto kicks out.
Big ass powerbomb. What a big powerbomb.
The pain is too much for Madusa, so Akira is able to place her opponent on the top rope for a superplex for a near fall, followed by locking on a leg bar, forcing a screaming Madusa to make the ropes to break the hold. Back on their feet, Hokuto goes to the top for a missile dropkick, only for Madusa to avoid and deliver a bridging German for the pin. And no! Sonny Onoo pulls Madusa's legs out from under her.
Son of a bitch, exactly.
Akira attacks the leg again, standing on it, punching at it, before hitting a scoop slam and heading up top for a splash. But Madusa gets her knees up, which just puts her into more pain.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea behind that, but you got an injured knee. I don't know if that's the right move for you.
I want to give some props to Hokuto here. She milks every 5 count as she does something illegal to Madusa down on the mat. Like, everybody, if you're a heel, you should be breaking at 5 and then just going back to it. But she really sells getting as much out of every one of those seconds as she possibly can.
Yep.
Madusa makes it to her feet and nails a clothesline for a 2 count. Lifts Hokuto for a back suplex, only for the knee to give, allowing Akira to nail a Northern Lights bomb.
She sees her moment
For the pin. And the win.
That nasty Northern suplex bomb looks like a brain buster. I don't know what these ladies are doing. Madusa was serving, if I can use that word, Charlotte Flair vibes in this match.
Yes, and as the kids would say, she ate that Northern Lights bomb.
Oh, absolutely.
Post-match, Hokuto continues attacking the leg after the bell, including biting it until the ref is able to get her to leave. And Lee can't believe Madusa's career is over, while Heenan finds it hilarious, saying, "Good news is she won't be standing in an unemployment line with that leg."
Fuck. So brutal. Because, like, we all like Madusa, and we feel like we haven't seen enough of her. And this is maybe the best match we've seen her have. Potentially.
I mean, in WCW, yeah.
Yeah. And this is...
They typically put her against people who don't know how to wrestle, or it's just, a 3-minute something where it's her chasing Paul Heyman around the ring,
And
or a bikini contest with Missy.
And this is the best Hokuto match, too. Like, this is great, and she is a perfect heel in this match. Perfect, intelligent heel.
And she had that look, like I was talking about on the last episode, where it's like Marilyn Manson inspired, where she's wearing this funky gas mask, and
she looks like a murderer.
Yep.
And she is.
Officials help Madusa out of the ring when Mean Gene tries to get a word, asking her if she understands the gravity of her career being over.
If ever there was an uncaring moment for Gene, this is him in full display, because it was... She's
was like crying. Her knees are just fucking ruined.
He put the mean in Mean Gene in this little segment here.
She yells at him, "Not now!" while fans start chanting, "Leave her alone! Leave her alone!"
Yeah, it's like, is this the last match for Madusa? Because no one's... Like, people have liked her and loved her, and no one's ever been like, get her out of here. But, like, this is the most... It feels like any crowd's ever given her.
And Uncle Glenn doesn't even understand why they're chanting it. It's like, I'm just doing my job. Like, no, you're being a heartless bastard.
Yeah, in my notes it says this is the meanest of genes. Because we're all on the same page here. I was like, I don't even remember writing that, but yeah, it's a weird and sad end. It's a weird and sad end of a match, but it's such a good match.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the last time we see Madusa for a couple of years. And the last we see of the WCW Women's Championship ever.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would put this on a potential short list. Potential. Just because it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I mean, you remember,
Potentially.
I was the only one that was like, we got to put the Ultimo versus Liger.
Oh, yeah.
2-minute match on the short list.
Uh-huh.
And there it ended up.
Yeah.
Can you believe Mean Gene talked to her like that?
It's disrespect.
Heartless.
Well, moving further into 97, this guy Terry Funk, he's going to retire. So his final match is going to be with Bret Hitman Hart in a no DQ match at Terry Funk's Wrestlefest, 50 Years of Funk, covered in episode 270. So yeah, Terry Funk's last match, right?
I mean,
right?
To quote Matt again,
You'll probably hear us say it, but they're like, Terry Funk's last match in Texas, Terry Funk's last match in the United States, Terry Funk's last match in Amarillo, Texas. It's Terry Funk, and he was like, I'm gonna have a last match, and Terry Funk means enough, Bret Hart means enough that Bret Hart's allowed to go down there and have a match with him while he was champion.
Yes, he was champion at the Bret was champion at the time.
yes.
This show was basically produced by ECW. So, like, Paul Heyman is there helping run it.
Paul Heyman does an incredible speech, just fucking putting over Terry Funk, the Funks,
Absolutely.
and what Texas means to wrestling. It's maybe the best Paulie moment of 97 is just...
Yeah.
Yeah, we see the Paulie that... He's one of the few guys that has just only gotten better over time.
Absolutely.
But this match has such a specific look. I don't think that there is a more Texas-looking wrestling match that I've ever seen. It feels like you're in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the building.
It's a small, independent show feel to this, because that's what it is.
But even the arena,
there's no money into
the
this.
arena. Like the bleachers are like they don't go up. They don't go up like a typical. They go like back and far. Everything feels big, and Bret Hart is healing it up, and Terry Funk is working from underneath. And what do you love more than Terry Funk just selling his ass off? We said that this is. He said it was his last match. It's not his last match, but this is the last Terry Funk match that probably really gets talked about in any real or meaningful way.
I guess we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's fighting in heaven.
Well, let's find out what we said
Let's do it.
back then. So we go to our 10th match. Terry Funk with Dory Funk Jr. versus Bret Hitman Hart with Bruce Hart in a no DQ match.
Not gonna lie,
Excited.
I was very, very, very surprised by this main event here.
I mean, it's Terry Funk.
I mean, it's Terry Funk, but
Yeah.
considering that Bret is the current WWF champion, I wasn't expecting him to be featured on another show.
So, as Michael kind of alluded to earlier, this is Funk's retirement match. And it was supposed to be his retirement match, but literally they just kept saying in Amarillo, or Joey kept saying in Amarillo.
As the show goes on, they get more specific about it, where it's his last match in Texas, his last match in Amarillo, like I think they go to his last match in the U.S. and then they they get it down to specifically like his last match in Amarillo, and it's like his last match ever in this building or whatever. It's crazy.
Last match ever on this recording.
Yeah, exactly. And it just gets funnier and funnier. But you can see, if you pay attention, from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, they chip away at like what it is the last.
What he's actually retiring from.
Yeah.
I'm retiring from wrestling with my left hand tied behind my back.
Yeah. No more. I'll never blade again. Yeah, right.
But because people do think it's his retirement match, there's fans that are giving him hugs as he makes his way to the ring. Someone even jumps in the ring and looks like he wants to challenge Terry, but Funk just gets him out of the ring peacefully.
Yeah. Terry's like, oh, that's pretty funny, bud, go.
Dennis Stamp is our referee. Actually, the reason he's the referee is basically because he was mad that Terry didn't book him on the show. So he was like, okay, come be the referee.
Didn't they say something about? Oh yeah, okay.
But
You'll get
Joey
there.
also tells us a story of how Bret would spend his summers at the Funk Ranch. When one night Stamp's opponent didn't show up, so Hart would fill in at 15 years old for his first professional match.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the locker room and the Funk family then empty into the ring to have a special presentation with Paul Heyman taking the mic.
And I mean, if you didn't already know about how great Paul Heyman is with a microphone, if you don't, you know it today. But this is a wonderful performance by him.
And he talks about how ECW was put on the map because of what Terry did. And Paul continues by congratulating the Funk family for over 50 years and presenting him with a lifetime heavyweight title belt. And then everyone clears out, leaving just our competitors, and the Hitman would take the mic to say he's honored to be there to work with the greatest wrestler in the game, calling Amarillo Wrestling the best there ever was, before thanking Terry, shaking his hand, followed by saying he's going to give Funk a Canadian ass whooping. Yeah. And this match actually came together because Terry actually requested Bret to be his final match.
I mean, who would you rather see it be?
If there's anybody in the industry at this point that can break Vince down to get someone to do this, it probably is the living legend Terry Funk.
Yep.
So,
You think so? Because like Funk,
he did it.
He did it. Yeah. That's true. But yeah.
Match gets going. Terry takes them to a corner to start, but Hart turns it around and breaks clean to show respect, before bailing out to the floor to establish that he's controlling the pace. Then back in the ring, Funk takes the fight to the mat with a headlock, only for Bret to escape momentarily, until Terry takes the Hitman back to the mat with a fireman's carry. Hart counters another headlock into a front chancery, but Funk is able to take Bret down by a leg, going for the spinning toe hold, causing the Hitman to immediately grab the ropes and roll out to regroup.
But Terry just follows.
That's right. But Hart wants none of Funk on the floor, so he rolls back into the ring, where they go to a corner again. Only this time, Bret hits the cheap shot and starts wailing on the leg of Terry. The Hitman with chokes, jabs to the throat, and headbutts before delivering a snap suplex and going back to work on the leg. Funk looks to fire up with jabs, but Hart covers up and kicks at the knee again to regain control, knocking Terry out of the ring, with Bret following out to stab at the knee with a chair and slam Funk's head into a table several times. They get back in the ring where Terry continues to get hammered by right hands, only for him to start swinging wildly, when the Hitman would kick him down again and apply the figure four with leverage. And Funk makes the ropes, but hey guys, it's no DQ. So Hart just keeps the hold on, until the ref finally gets him to release it, when Bruce would bash Terry over the head with a chair.
That damn Bruce.
Bruce and Keith are back again, huh?
Yeah, Bruce really wants that spotlight.
Yes, he
Bit
does.
of a star fucker. But, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like Stamp breaks the hold just because it's Terry.
See, I'm
as
thinking-
opposed to like, but I'm like, it's a no DQ, but it's like, well, but yeah, he's like, he's had enough. Beat him in the ring.
You got Bruce
I mean,
standing
it's still
on the
beating him in the
outside,
ring,
just like
but-
looking at the stamp, like could have been me, should have been me. up there.
Yeah.
I could have been a ref.
I'd rather have Dennis Stamp, and I don't know who he is, Bruce. But the more you want it, the less people want you to have it.
Mm-hmm.
The two men trade strikes as Funk fires up with left hands, followed by a neck breaker, a DDT, and a pile driver that all get 2 counts. And Terry decides to take the fight to the floor and into the crowd, throwing Bret into a chair before returning to the ring, only for the Hitman to trip him up and lock on a ring post figure 4. But the ref breaks the hold, leading to Hart arguing with him. But they get back into the ring to continue the punishment on the leg as Bruce is yelling into the mic for his brother to finish him.
Oh, Bruce.
Bret with a backbreaker and grabs a chair to stab at the knee again multiple times, followed by placing the leg in the chair and leg dropping it. Hart starts swinging at the Hitman's leg to slow the momentum, before leg dropping Hart's leg as well. And Terry calls for a chair, and the crowd obliges.
Almost hits him in the head.
Exactly. Smashing it across the leg of Bret several times, followed by tossing him back out to the floor, where more chair shots across the back are delivered.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When the call for a chair happened, I was waiting for
Yeah.
the
The
massive.
ECW style
Yes.
of requesting a chair.
Because it's his last time in Amarillo.
Yeah,
it's
get
his
a little-
final match.
They're not quite as savage as they are up in Philly.
I don't know. Whoever threw that first chair, they threw like a fucking savage.
Yeah, they sure did.
Funk sets up the timekeeper's table, setting the Hitman on it before Terry goes for a springboard pump splash, only for Hart to have moved, sending Funk through the table and busting him open.
Oh, we got a bleeder.
Bret rolls Terry back in and sets up for the sharpshooter, only for Funk to roll him up for a near fall. Terry then goes for the spinning toe hold, but the Hitman cradles him up for a 2 count. Hart hits a pair of clotheslines even as they both struggle to walk, followed by a shoulder block by Funk for a near fall, as he collapsed on top of him. And Bret then grabs a side headlock, only for Terry to counter with a bridging back suplex, with the ref making the count. 1, 2. The Hitman gets his shoulder up. 3. As Funk's shoulders are still on the mat for the pin. And the win. Post-match, Hart extends a hand, raising the arm of Terry in respect, before Funk tries to just leave. But the ring announcer shoves a mic in his face to say a few words to the crowd, saying he has no complaints, while Joey says his goodbyes. So, fun fact for you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, as we all know, this wasn't his retirement match.
No.
As Terry would literally wrestle again in 11 days over in Japan. And we will actually see him very soon in the WWF.
Yeah.
Also, I did look this up. It ended up not being his final match in Amarillo, as he would work 2 house shows while back in WCW at one point.
Cool.
Also,
Uh-huh.
footage of this match would be shown in Beyond the Mat,
Oh, wow.
which we'll watch in about 120 episodes.
Yeah. I've seen it a bunch of times. Never not ready to watch it again.
It's been a long time since I watched it.
It rules.
Mhm.
I mean, you know it rules, but it rules every time.
Yep. Ugh. Why does Bruce always have to get involved in shit? We don't care. We don't want you. You're not Bret.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be the center of attention. Just give him a hug. Someone give Bruce a hug.
I mean, I think that's Stu's fault. Stu should have been hugging instead of stretching his boys.
That's probably true.
Bruce had a mom.
Yeah, but she was a wrestling mom. Sounds like a hard job.
And she had, 27 kids or whatever it was. Probably tired. Can't lift her arms anymore.
So we move forward to the first Hell in a Cell match.
And if this match wasn't good, if it wasn't what it was, Hell in a Cell probably would not have continued.
No, it would have been a one and
It may have done. It may have continued for another year because Vince is stubborn. But how many World War IIIs have we seen? None of them have.
At least 3.
Too many.
And none of them have worked.
Nope.
But Hell in a Cell became a thing. It's a thing today, and it gets one-upped to a incredible feat, but not as good of a match. And here we have Shawn with one of the more incredible blade jobs of '97 in a match with a dead man.
I mean, plus we just have a match that is going before the match even starts because you've got Taker just kind of kicking Shawn's ass all over the set to start off before they actually even make it into the cell.
So in this Hell in a Cell, obviously, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, Bad Blood in Your House, episode 275.
I mean, is this where we meet our brother?
Yep.
It is where the brother shows up.
Which adds even more.
Like, most times, there have been many matches that we've covered where I go, this would be a shortlist match if not for this moment.
Yeah.
In the match. And it's usually like some
silly thing.
Interference or disqualification type thing. This one, Kane coming out just adds to the match.
Yep. And it helped, and it's like, well, the build-up just between Shawn and Undertaker was enough. Even without Kane, it would have been there, but Kane didn't take away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
It only added to, which is kind of the thing. Wrestling should be addition and not subtraction. You should never get to the point where the number is so big you gotta subtract.
Absolutely. Well, let's hear all about it from us. So we go to our 7th match. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Chyna, and Rick Rude, versus The Undertaker to be the number 1 contender for the WWF Championship in a Hell in a Cell match.
The first ever.
And as the cell lowers into place, Michaels' entourage exits the area before Sarge just makes them completely leave to the back, leaving Shawn all alone.
Oh no.
He's just a boy.
And Taker makes his way to the ring.
A sexy
And
boy.
he raises the lights, causing the Heartbreak Kid to freak out, asking Hebner to not lock the door as he realized he might have just made a terrible mistake.
I mean, good heel work. Be a little chicken shit.
Yep.
And the dead man begins stalking after Michaels around ringside. They roll in the ring with Shawn running the ropes, only for Undertaker to hit a big boot and several turnbuckle smashes. The HBK fires back with jabs and mounted punches. But Taker would reverse a whip to get a flare flip from Michaels, followed by a clothesline for a 2 count. And the dead man works the arm before nailing old school, a body slam and a leg drop for a near fall, followed by a back body drop that sends Michaels so high his feet scrape the ceiling. Shawn is then thrown over the top rope to the floor, with Undertaker giving chase to double choke lift HBK until a thumb to the eye allows him to escape and attempt to climb the wall, but Taker just yanks him off. And the dead man whips Michaels into the cage multiple times, with Shawn bouncing off every time right into a clothesline, before going for a powerbomb, only for the Heartbreak Kid to escape by punching away. The Undertaker recovers by smashing him back first into the wall several times.
Yeah, Shawn's doing a great job of working from underneath, like taking his shots when he can, but, you know, the Undertaker, not only is he already dead, he's very angry.
He's very large.
Yeah, that too.
Taker keeps up the attack by ramming Michaels back and forth between the cage and the ring post, followed by trying to lawn dart Shawn, only for HBK to escape out the back, shoving the dead man into the wall. The Undertaker no-sells and responds with a clothesline, tossing Michaels into the steel steps and choking him. Shawn's then sent into the cage again, with Taker charging after, only for the Heartbreak Kid to avoid and begins to fire up with right hands. Michaels rolls in to regroup momentarily, attacking again once the dead man's on the apron, only for the Undertaker to hit a hot shot across the ropes. Taker again makes it to the apron when Shawn charges at him to send the dead man flying into the cage, followed by a tope suicida leaping off the wall with an elbow drop.
Hell yeah.
Michael then flies off the apron with a clothesline, picks up the ring steps, and smashes Undertaker over the back multiple times, before nailing a piledriver on the steel as well.
I mean, my gosh. Undertaker had to have trusted the hell out of Shawn to like, oh yeah, we can do that spot, because Shawn was a strong, fit guy, but Undertaker's really big, and it's a pile driver on the steel steps.
With somebody that's like 8 or 9 inches taller than you are.
They don't weigh 125 pounds like Jerry Lawler said, but they are made out of steel.
The Heartbreak Kid starts shoving and yelling at a cameraman to get out of the way, before hitting a top rope double axe handle. And Taker makes his way back in the ring, so Shawn grabs a chair to whack across the back of the dead man several times, making a cover for a 2 count.
That damn chair.
The two start trading strikes until Michaels ties up Undertaker in the ropes so he can continue to attack, only for Taker to get a big boot up, followed by back body dropping HBK over the ropes onto the same cameraman, so Shawn begins attacking him
He throws a
out
fit.
of frustration.
It's pretty funny and surprising. I thought I had, it's like, they looked under the ring for people associated with Shawn Michaels. They left chairs under there and like screwdrivers and shit, all the like ring tools and whatnot.
Well, I mean, Jared was talking about that at one point.
I know.
They've got extra ropes under there and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know what they have under there, but yeah. But I guess they were more worried about it not being a fair fight as far as humans go, not as far as foreign objects go. There's plenty under there.
Back in the ring, HBK tosses the dead man out of the ring before returning to the cameraman to drag him to the door of the cage, where other production members are yelling to get help. A leaping forearm and a top rope elbow drop from Michaels inside the ring, while Slaughter arrives to help the injured cameraman out of the cage. And Shawn tunes up the band, delivering sweet chin music. The Undertaker immediately rises, so the Heartbreak Kid takes off running and out the open door.
I mean, it is a pretty fun and funny angle to get them outside of the cage. But, yeah, it's like, oh, well, I know why. As soon as they drag him towards the door, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what we're doing here. Not mad about it. A little amusing.
Taker follows out, only to be drop-kicked into the wall. But when Michaels tries for another, the dead man catches and catapults Shawn right into the cage, which busts him open. So Undertaker continues by ramming the cut into the wall several times.
Yeah, I love that you can see. I was like, oh, I gotta rewind because I always want to see if I can catch the blade. Throws him in there. Shawn goes down for a second, does a hell of a good blade job, and then, you know, when Taker rams him in there, it's like, all right, just enough time for, for the juice to start flowing.
He does it midair.
Does he?
Yeah.
I saw him down on the ground like this, but I guess he was getting it out of his wrist. And that's what he was hiding.
Shawn is known for doing it midair.
That's crazy. Because I rewound and he was down on his face with his arm above his head or whatever, and I thought, but that must have been him getting the blade ready.
I mean, probably he was getting it ready.
Yeah, getting it ready, but that's not where he cut himself. Damn, that's cool. And fucking wild, and makes sense considering how much juice he's about to get.
The Heartbreak Kid then starts to climb the cage to put some distance between him and his opponent, only for Taker to give chase, with Michaels grabbing him as they reach the top of the cage for a pile driver. But the dead man reverses into a back body drop onto the roof.
Oof.
Undertaker continues the punishment by raking Shawn's face into the cage, with blood dripping down onto a cameraman inside the ring, causing that guy to yell, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that's gross.
As he gets drenched before delivering a press slam. HBK again tries to escape the attack by climbing down the cell, only for Taker to stomp on his hands, causing Michaels to fall right off into the Spanish announce table.
He's broken him in half.
Ay, Dios mío.
The dead man then joins them on the floor to throw Shawn onto the French announce table, followed by another press slam onto the floor. And they make their way back into the ring, so Slaughter locks the door once more, where Undertaker hits a clothesline and places the Heartbreak Kid on the top turnbuckle for a super choke slam. Taker then grabs a chair from under the ring,
Payback.
clobbering Michaels over the head. When the lights go out and organ music begins to play,
Bum, bum, bum.
Paul Bearer emerges from the back with a large masked man.
There's Paul Bearer.
Fire erupting behind them as Vince yells, "That's gotta be Kane!" Our masked man rips the door off its hinges, throws the ref into the wall before stepping over the ropes and confronting the dead man, raising and lowering his arms to send fire shooting out of the ring posts.
I'm glad they changed it years later to where they added like a bass or a boom or something like that when the fire shoots out, because
Oh, yeah.
those are very quiet as the fire starts to.
Yeah, what another funny thing was that, like, you can see the apparatus there throughout the whole match or whatever, but the one of them doesn't go off, but this is the first time that they've done it, and the fire is, like, so bright and so big. They're like, okay, we need to tweak it down a little bit. Yeah, but it's crazy bright.
The masked man lifts Undertaker to nail a tombstone, followed by leaving the ring, leaving Shawn to crawl out of a pool of his own blood to drape an arm over Taker, while Hebner makes a slow 3 count for the pin and the win. Post-match, Hunter, Chyna, and Rick Rude arrive to help the Heartbreak Kid out of the ring, as he is a bloody mess and has no clue where he is, dragging him down the aisle. JR says Michaels defeated the dead man, with McMahon correcting him that Kane beat The Undertaker. Only for Ross to say it doesn't matter, because Shawn is headed to Survivor Series.
I mean, when watching this match, I was like, where's the blade job? Where's the blade job? Matt said, Mike, Shawn did it in the air. And it makes sense.
That's what it looked like to me.
I mean, yeah, but it makes sense because if he did it on the floor, there's no way he would have bled like that.
not that quickly.
Yeah, but it's so seamless. It's so perfect. How many matches have you seen in modern times where it's like, oh, when did the guy cut himself? Oh, he went under the ring. He put his head under the ring to cut himself. It's like, well, then you have no business cutting yourself. Shawn Michaels did it right, and he did it for the right reason. He hasn't always done everything for the right reason, but he did it here against The Undertaker.
So then we come to our last match that we're going to put on our best of 97 here.
Yeah, we're not ranking them. We're going throughout the year.
That's right.
But this one comes from Halloween Havoc 97, episode 279.
And if you've ever listened to this show, Halloween Havoc is a bone of contention.
Yes.
And I think I say this while we're covering it, but people think this is WCW's best match ever.
It's hard to argue.
They've
But
got
it's-
the two of the right ones in there for it.
It's Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship versus Rey's mask.
And I think a big reason why it works so well is that you have the babiest of faces and this shithead heel, and the lines are so clear, but they both, here in 97, have absolutely everything to prove. People know who they are now. They've been working up to this, and this is their moment to showcase their ability and their understanding of the art of wrestling. And I can't imagine really anybody doing it better at this point in time.
I mean, it's tough. I've watched this match a dozen times at least.
Yeah,
like, it's one of those that like I could just throw on and watch it because it's just so much fun to watch.
When you brought up how like every single time there's a best of, it's like, oh, well, it's on the best of Eddie, it's on the best of Ray, it's on the best of WCW, it's on the best of
Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. So it's best of '97. It's like this is a all timer.
This essential must watch.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like Ray became more famous, was like the bigger name more quickly, but Eddie had the staying power because he had the character. Ray didn't need a character. Ray's a superhero. But Eddie is an interesting, believable, and relatable villain.
Well, let's hear us talk about it. So we go to our third match. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Eddie Guerrero for the WCW World Cruiserweight Championship.
I mean,
versus Mask match.
This is all we want, right? It's just shows that just give us matches like these three. These are the names we want to see.
So the story behind this match was that Eddie had targeted Mysterio, having not forgotten his upset loss before Fall Brawl. Rey would face a mysterious masked man on Nitro named El Caliente, but the ruse fooled no one, especially after he was unmasked, to be Guerrero. A measure of revenge was had when Eddie would run into Mysterio versus Malenko, snatching the mask off of Rey's head, causing him to lose as he covered his face. And this would lead to Mike Tenay doing a series of history lessons on the tradition of lucha libre and masks in Mexico,
which we've talked about and loved.
Tenay would mention that the Guerrero family had resented masked men, as Gory had lived in the shadow of El Santo throughout his career.
So good. Look at all this sense this is
Little
making.
context.
Uh-huh.
So the match gets going with Eddie he just starts yelling that he's going to rip the mask off of Mysterio's head.
Yeah, he's full dickhead energy.
Right.
It's so good.
Before just swinging away, only for Rey to duck and leap off the ropes with a cobrada. But he's caught, so Mysterio counters it into an arm drag and a monkey flip. Rey then delivers a crossbody that sends Guerrero to the floor, but Eddie recovers to throw Mysterio off the apron down to the floor and then into the steel steps. And Rey is rolled in before Guerrero nails a slingshot senton and chops, only for Mysterio to reverse a whip to hit a dropkick and handspring up to the shoulders for a Rana. But Eddie reverses it into a back suplex and a brainbuster for a 2 count.
Eddie sucks. I mean, these are not the views of myself, but the crowd in 1997.
Guerrero keeps up the attack with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker for a near fall, before starting to rip at the eye hole of the mask, while applying an ab stretch, which Eddie transitions into a pump handle backbreaker for a 2 count.
Eddie is looking even more sinewy and ripped. I think he might be on the gas.
Guerrero grabs a knuckle lock for multiple pin attempts before attempting a pump splash, but Rey gets his feet up, using the pendulum to leap up to the top rope and flying off to nail a springboard moonsault DDT.
I mean, come on, guys. Is this not the coolest thing you've seen in a little while?
It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it was so sick.
Dropkick from Mysterio sends Eddie to the floor before going for a springboard something, but Guerrero has already rolled back into the ring, so Rey lands on the apron, only for Eddie to dropkick him out to the floor. Guerrero follows out to send Mysterio hard into the guardrail before returning to the ring, where the mask continues to be ripped at while in a camel clutch.
And after that wonderful, beautiful, hard-hitting DDT maneuver, Eddie sells his head for, you don't really, people might be like, I got punched in the head or whatever, but he's just selling his head because his head hurts for, basically throughout the rest of the match. But it's like, it's just a thing, guys. The move has to mean something. And I couldn't be more excited that one that looked that good and that cool and devastating, you got to register this stuff. And it means more when you do.
Eddie transitions into a gory special, but Rey gets loose and arm drags out of it, only to then whiff on a dropkick, allowing Guerrero to dropkick Mysterio in the back of the neck. And Eddie keeps up the attack with a backbreaker and a modified surfboard, only to release it to deliver another dropkick for a near fall. And strikes begin to be traded in a corner when Guerrero throws Rey across the ring, leaving him in a tree of woe, allowing Eddie to nail another dropkick. And Guerrero gets a running start for another, only for Rey to lift himself up, sending Eddie crotch first into the ring post and crashing out to the floor. Mysterio then leaps off the turnbuckle with a plancha onto Guerrero, before returning to the ring where Rey's whip is reversed and almost gets caught in a tilt whirl, but he lands on his feet, followed by leaping on the shoulders of Eddie for a hurricanrana for the pin, and no, Guerrero kicks out.
I mean, these boys are,
They're earning that paycheck.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody else's.
Yeah, they're on the right wavelength. They're both at the same frequency.
Eddie immediately responds with a clothesline and a whip to the ropes, where Mysterio goes for another quebrada, only for Guerrero to slide underneath, so Rey charges in to head scissor Eddie out to the floor. Mysterio would then leap over the ropes with a somersault plancha, landing on the shoulders and turning it into another Rana.
My God.
And Guerrero's rolled in while Rey heads up top to connect with a corkscrew moonsault for a 2 count, before springboarding off the ropes with a split-legged moonsault. But Eddie gets his knees up and hoists Mysterio up to deliver a powerbomb for the pin. And no! Rey kicks out.
And the fans think that Eddie sucks, but I think they're wrong.
Guerrero rams Rey back first into a turnbuckle, charges in himself, only for Mysterio to hotshot him onto the turnbuckle, followed by a spinning heel kick. And Rey rolls to the apron for a springboard Rana, but Eddie catches and drops him across his knee for a backbreaker.
You can't go back to the well.
Before heading to the top himself, flying off with a frog splash, only to see Mysterio move.
Damn.
So Guerrero rolls through. Rey then charges at Eddie, who goes for the hot shot, but Mysterio leaps up to the turnbuckle, only for Guerrero to cut his feet out from under him to crotch him. Eddie then lifts Mysterio up for a splash mountain bomb, but Mysterio counters into a hurricanrana for the pin and the win. And no!
Shane got caught up. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. Is this a short list?
Yes, it's definitely a short
Just
list.
making sure we're all on the same page, because I'm like, I wrote it.
This match is considered one of WCW's best matches ever.
Okay, well, it's upsetting for WCW, but I mean, if this wasn't in like the top 10 list, pretty wild.
Yeah. Post-match, Rey is celebrating when Guerrero would attack, throwing Mysterio to the floor, leaving Eddie to sulk in the ring. Just wow. Like every time. Every time. I just go, wow.
Yep.
It works.
WCW gives us a lot of shit sometimes. I shouldn't even say sometimes. WCW gives us a lot of shit, but then they give us something like this just to kind of help.
Yeah, it's crazy. The undercard,
make it all worth it.
Yeah, the undercard's been good for a long time, and then the cruisers have been curtain jerking, and they've worked their way out of it throughout '97 and became the thing. In the previous years, it was Zink, it was Pillman, Austin. It was lighter or smaller guys having wrestling matches. But we've introduced a new style, but with the same attention to detail, and it couldn't be more exciting.
So that's our 6 that we're going to cover. But we'd love to always point out some of the other ones that are on our list, because we didn't put any of our Japanese show matches that we had, and we had 7.
We normally go J-Cup, Super Junior, G1s, January 4th shows.
Yeah, there's usually at least one of those on almost all these. I don't know that for certain because I didn't take a look back.
There typically is,
but there's at least one usually. And I mean, I guess that 6-man kind of takes the place of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was an ECW match technically,
and it was a 6-man. We're normally looking at the singles matches.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, we had 3 from Best of Super Juniors. We had 3 from the G1 that were on our short list. We had 1 from Wrestling World, which was the January 4th show. We had a couple more WWF matches that were on our list from like the 4-way from Final Four in your house, Final Four.
It was Vader, Stone Cold, Bret, and Undertaker. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, a 4-way with those 4 guys. It's like, okay, this will probably be fine, but it'll end in a schmoz of some kind. But this one was well worked and was stayed interesting throughout. A lot of times when you get 4 guys in a ring, especially guys as large as Vader and Undertaker, with 2, I mean, I would never call Austin or Bret small men, but smaller men, or more agile men, it might just kind of get formulaic, but they kept it up.
And then we had the European Championship final between Owen and British Bulldog, which was on an episode of Raw that happened over in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, and they hammed it up.
I mean, they just had a blast facing each other. They're two really, I mean, they're basically family members.
Yeah. They're not brothers, but they're brothers.
Yeah. But we had like I said earlier, we had 17 matches on our short list. Bret showed up 3 times. And then literally, what is that, 3, 6, 9 guys showed up twice on the list. And Ultimo, Stone Cold, Undertaker showed up a couple times. Rey, Sasuke, Taka, El Samurai was on a couple. Koji Kanemoto and Hiroyoshi Tenzan was a couple times as well.
Yeah, Tenzan, I mean, it's kind of weird that there was no Japanese. I mean, there was no shows from Japan where we picked a match, but there were some great matches. But I mean, in a weird year that '97 is, we had some just as good or great or more memorable matches. And I want to give a big shout out to Ultimo because he's on this list twice. Both his matches are great. He's super over in WCW, but he didn't quite meet the high bar that Rey and Eddie did.
Yeah.
He had great matches. He had a lot of great matches this year, and like I said, a couple of them made the list, but Rey and Eddie is just kind of like 2 men with one vision. Just absolutely nailed it.
So that kind of closes up 97 for us. Next week, we're going to start up 1998.
Attitude, baby. They said it. GX song is here.
But we're going to head to Japan.
January.
To start it off, January 4th show. Final Power Hall in Tokyo Dome.
I'm intrigued.
I mean, it's January 4th. It's the Tokyo Dome show. We do it whenever it's available. I will be interested, because I do not know the card, if there is any, American wrestlers over there. Because we've seen them do those shows with WCW. We've seen some WWF guys over there at times. Who knows? It will be interesting. I kind of doubt it here in '98, but we'll see. You can never count out a Steiner in the Tokyo Dome.
The music from this week's show is New Body by Audio Adrenaline and Bell Bottoms by John Spencer Blues Explosion. If you like this episode or any of our others, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Come on. Let us know. What was your favorite match in '97? It would mean a lot to us.
Exactly.
And you can send any of those, along with questions, comments, concerns, to WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com. Or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. It's Wrestling HISTO. X. We'll talk to you next week.
Later, y'all.
Next year.